Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott McKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, once again, welcome to Industrial Talk. Thank you very much for your continued support of the #1 industrial-related podcast in the universe. I say it all the time because you're bold, brave, you dare greatly, you innovate, you collaborate, you're solving today's problems each and every day, and that's why you're making the world a better place. That's why we celebrate you on Industrial Talk. You are the heroes in this story. All right, we're broadcasting from Xcelerate, brought to you by those wonderful people at Fluke. Go out to fluke.com and find out more, because you get to meet great people and you get to listen to all of the incredible insights and sage wisdom that is being delivered from a reliability, asset management, and maintenance perspective. In the hot seat, we have two. They're with Green River Distilleries, correct? I got that. Jacob and Nolan, and we're going to be talking a little bit about how they have implemented Xcelerate into their organization. So let's get cracking. Yeah. And quite honestly, they were walking by, and I just sort of did one of these little finger things, and then I told them to stop, and then I did a thumbs up, and they got it. You're that smart.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
They understood my lingo.
Absolutely.
Are you guys having a good conference?
Oh, it's been great. It's been great.
It's got to be your first?
It's our third. It's our
your third?
Yep.
And this is the first time you guys ever spoken?
First time.
Shut up.
So a little fact here is we started the first Fluke Roadshow last year. That kind of got our foot in the door with speaking with you all. So over here.
Whoa! You just threw that out. What's a Fluke Roadshow?
It's where Fluke comes to you. Xcelerate comes to you, and you get to yeah.
There you go, right there, off to the side. It's a she.
Yeah. Yep. So they came to us, and we got to represent Green River and all these other corporations that came. So
it's a great turnout as well.
Was it really?
Yes, phenomenal for the first one.
Is it just because they did a great job, or is it because you guys produce a great product?
Well, I think that world's best weeded bourbon really drew them in there, Nolan, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a selling point for sure.
Truth be told.
It's out there.
Yeah. All right, before we get into the conversation about Green River, all right, Jacob, give us a little background on just who you are, where you come from, and then we'll go to you.
Yep.
Okay.
My experience with the distillery has been about 3 years. I'm the maintenance manager there. Before that, I come from the smelters and done a little bit of everything: planning, supervision, execution to reliability. And I'm an electrician by trade. So,
and I've been with Green River for 5 years now. I've been through.
You're senior to him?
Yes, senior to him, but not senior to him.
Yeah.
So I'm the
age-wise too.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the maintenance, or I'm the maintenance supervisor there. Been there for 5 years, 3 years as the maintenance supervisor. So, seen a lot of change over time.
How many people are working at Green River?
Around 50.
Around 50?
Yep.
What is the square footage of your distillery?
It's 28 acres, the main site. And
No way.
Yeah, and then we have two other additional sites. One's about 60 acres. The other one's around 50, and those are just warehousing facilities.
Okay, I have to go in because I'm already in business mode, and we'll talk about all the e-maint and what you guys are doing. Who was the one that said, I want to build this distillery, use, this sort of idle assets, because we saw the building in your presentation, so you got this idle asset. It was struggling. Mm-hmm. and just say, yes, I have this dream. And then you executed it. How did that come to be? And I'll throw it over to you, Jacob. I don't know.
Yeah, so there was a group that started in 2015 that are no longer a part of the corporation. They've actually split off and built their own distillery about 60 miles or 50 miles from Green River. But they came in and they had a goal of doing really one thing: bringing the 10th oldest distillery back to life, flipping it, and selling it off.
Did you say oldest?
Yeah, it's 10th oldest distillery.
10th oldest?
In Kentucky, yep.
Okay. That's cool. See, I like that stuff, and I didn't know that.
Yes,
and I just have to ask, why is the water so good coming at you?
Oh, it's there's a lot of secrets behind all that, Scott. So
no, it's natural. You're not treating it.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything secret.
But we have four wells on site that we use for all our cooling and taking care and making sure that our mash stays where it needs to be for the process, and making sure we're getting our yield out of it and what we need to see out of it, and keeping that great flavor for the next, it's going to go sit in a barrel for 4 years, so we got to make sure the start of it is always great.
So back to sort of the feedstock. What are we looking at there, Jacob? What's the general feedstock? I'm not going to say, hey, what's your recipe? I don't want to know the recipe, but the general base, what's that feedstock?
So we're corn whiskey, corn bourbon.
So it's sweet.
Yeah. So we have 4 or 5 different mash bills, and we do whiskeys and bourbons. We do a rye whiskey, a 95 rye. That's pretty good. And then wheated bourbon, which is the world's best. That just came out by the New York Spirits Competition about 6 months ago.
World's best. Yeah. How do you become the world's best? Who said that? It's like this blind, taste test. What?
Well, Forbes magazine published it, so it's got to be true, right?
Well, of course. Forbes. Well, you'll run with it, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Why wouldn't you run with it?
Yes.
All right. So let's go into eMate. So, when did you first deploy eMate? And is it X5? X4. Mm-hmm. Got it. Continue.
Yes, sir. So, Scott, we introduced eMate to the site in 2021, and I was brought in to collect those assets and get the ball rolling on that. So we went through implementation, got it going, but it wasn't truly adapted or adopted by everyone within the plant. It wasn't used how it should be. So when Jake came in 2023, that was kind of the initiative, we've got this great infrastructure and system that is not being utilized to its full potential, and we need to get on that track of reliability and using what we're paying for. And it's been super easy, super helpful, and we've seen great growth from this, just using the equipment and what we have and how it's intended to be.
Jacob, how did you deal with the change management at the time? So he come rolling in. You got this X4 out there, and you're saying, hey, we're not leveraging this solution. How did you sort of approach that change management?
Scott, it's all about buy-in. It's getting people bought into it, understanding the processes, and understanding that why. And once they get why and they can understand what's going on with their assets and they can depend on them daily, it's done it itself. So,
okay, let's talk a little bit about results. So here we are. You're saying, hey, we're tired of being reactive. We're tired of replacing bearings 100 feet in the air. By the way, I don't understand why. But why is it 100 feet in the air?
Mm-hmm. Well,
construction-wise?
It's got to be to get the length out to get the grain where it needs to go.
Okay, we cleared that up. So from an overall production perspective, if before your focus on eMate, you were at maybe utilization of your assets 60, 50, whatever it might be, to where you are today. Give us a little sort of flavor on that.
You got it.
And I'm sorry because I violated my number one. I should have said, Nolan, give us that information. And I did. I just threw a question out. And then, of course, you did exactly what it was all about.
Yeah.
You look at each other.
Look at each other, see who's going to answer.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I just blew it.
So where we were before, I wouldn't even say half of our assets were in. We had no preventative maintenance in the system. To where we are today, where that's the sole heartbeat of our maintenance department now. That's looked at every morning. Every asset is in there or is added as it comes on site. And our PMs have jumped. I couldn't give a percentage, but greatly just what we're actually looking at and the data driven that we're gaining from actually utilizing this. So it's all we use now. It's huge, and we're seeing great.
It's got to be a comfort.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
because nobody I did a project where everybody was reactive. The stress is through the roof. The money's going out the door. And the executives are saying, how in the heck do we stop this hemorrhaging, right?
Yes.
And they're trying to figure out solutions, and they're trying to, and I can only imagine how it is today. But how does the asset itself from a utilization. You're not breaking a bearing every, whatever it was, three weeks?
Yeah, 3 to 5 weeks.
Yeah, unacceptable.
Yes, it was bad.
Yeah. Let's take that asset. Where are we at now? You've got devices on it?
Yeah.
And I'm going to go Jacob.
Yeah.
I was sitting there going, looking at Nolan, but I said, it's got to be Jacob.
This one's good.
So now you have that use case. You get that 3 to 5 week failure rate. And now you're saying, hey, let me put some devices on it and let's track it. Let's see the vibration, whatever the heat, whatever you're doing. How are you extending the life of that asset?
Well, we haven't changed the bearing in 2 years.
Shut up.
So,
see, that's value.
Yeah, so condition monitoring's, it is what it is. I talked about data earlier and getting flooded with data, but if you use it in the right aspect and you trend it and you look at it and you put these devices on the right assets, it really increases productivity. So,
Nolan, are you doing some good lube strategies?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So we have all kinds of different speeds and RPMs. So we've looked into all that to make sure that we are greasing appropriately. We have things that run over 1,000 RPMs or down to 50. So it just we are making sure that we are adequately doing those jobs, and eMate's helping us track every bit of it.
To you, Jacob, where do you see it going? Where are we at? You're saying, hey, I don't want to be fat and sassy and take this for granted. Where are you seeing the next sort of opportunity?
So we just came online with a new project, new SCADA ignition software. So the next step is connecting ignition with eMate and having ignition draw out meter-based PMs, giving us that data on a frequent basis to where our technicians can pull out their laptops or their iPads and understand the whole site in a minute.
Sort of the health of that asset.
Yeah, and then pre-triggered work orders from failure modes that are conditioned in the PLC, right? So if we got a current fault on a VFD, we want to be able to trigger that and create a work order immediately and take the operator out of it because they need to be focused on running the equipment.
Yeah. So. How do you see the world of AI helping you with that data analytics? Jay? Yeah, Nolan's pointing at you, Jake. I'm sorry about that.
That one's all him.
It's pretty critical, right? Like, we're a lean manufacturer, so we have to have the data to the technicians fast and rapid because they don't have time to sit around and figure it out themselves. So
nope.
The AI to be able to analyze that data and tell us, hey, what is our top 5 failure modes of this asset in the last 5 years, and then we can focus on that. Let AI do the dirty work and let us continue to fix the problems.
Yeah, see, and eventually you'll be so proactive, so in tune with your assets that in essence you're not fighting fires. You're just operating the system. So it's all good. All right, as we wrap up, we need to know how people get a hold of you. Let's start with you, Nolan.
So I'm on LinkedIn, just Nolan.
Are you really?
Just Nolan Boswell, yes, sir. Always reach out to us through email, nolan.boswell@greenriverspirits.com. So either way, let's get connected. And if you're ever in Owensboro, stop by. I'll give you a tour around.
I want it. It's not a typical journey, but I would love to go up there and do that. And how about you there?
I'm on LinkedIn as well, so Jake Rearden, LinkedIn, so you can find me anywhere there. Obviously, the same email, jacob.rearden@greenriverspirits.com. So
I like it. You guys are great. Thank you very much for being so flexible. We're going to have all the contact information for these two gents out on Industrial Talk, so fear not. Reach out to them. If you're in the middle of some sort of implementation and you want some sort of insight, sage advice, these two are the ones that you want to connect with. We're broadcasting once again from Xcelerate 2026. Fluke is the company. Go out to fluke.com. Find out more. We're going to wrap it up on the other side. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
It is always a great conversation when we start talking about distillation and what does that mean from a manufacturing perspective, the production, the yields, and all the science that goes behind that. Kudos to Jake and Nolan, keeping that asset running. That was Xcelerate. And again, it's always a great conversation to talk about distillation and what they're doing. And if you had the opportunity to see their presentation at Xcelerate, you can just, your appreciation would just go through the roof, because where they started and where they're at today, it's amazing. And it is a testament to them and Team Green River Distilling Company. It's right there. I see it on their stat card. So reach out to them. I have all the contact information out on Industrial Talk. You know that. Reach out to them. Find out more. And not to mention, look into their products. Yeah. Make that happen. Industrial Talk, once again, is here for you. You need to tell your story. You need to amplify that story. You need to do that because you are a business that needs to succeed and be resilient. You need to attract new talent. And you need to be able to tell your story effectively so that talent can come to you. That's important. And you need to do it all the time. It is a part of your strategic focus. Industrial Talk, as always, is here for you. You an innovator? Right there. You a disruptor? Yeah, go to Industrial Talk. You are a leader? Go to Industrial Talk. Let's have a conversation. Simply. IndustrialTalk.com. Click connect. You'll be good to go, and we'll have a conversation. All right, be bold, be brave, dare greatly. I'll tell you, Fluke, eMate, Xcelerate, all of them put on a great show. You need to put this one on your calendar. All right, again, hang out with these two gents, and you will be changing the world. We're going to have another great conversation shortly, so stay tuned.